What says spring more than violets? In this video, learn how to crochet a string of violets and then how to turn them into the violet edging 2 different ways. Whether you choose a smooth edge or one with leaves, the flowers appear to blossom along the edge. The methods are similar, but the results are distinctive. You may also crochet the edging separately and sew it into place to trim a variety of garments. The edging can be worked in any weight yarn or crochet thread. So let's begin. To start our violet edging, form a slip knot and put it on your hook and chain 17. And I'm using an E-hook with worsted weight yarn. Now if you're going to use baby yarn, you want to go down to about a size 00 hook. And that's because you want to make these tight. Okay? So, count back 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the 5th chain from the hook, you're going to insert your hook and work a slip stitch. And that forms this little ring. But what I'm doing is I'm holding it toward me, but I'm laying it so it crisscrosses over the chain, the initial chain. So now I'm going to chain 1 more, and now we start the petal. And we're going to work 5 petals into this little ring. And a petal is formed by chaining 2, 1, 2, and working 2 double crochets into the ring. Chaining 2 and working 1 single crochet into the ring. We've just formed our first petal. I only have 3 petals in there, so I'm going to squish those over by just pushing them over because I want them to have a little bit of a ruffle, like a petal. Now we're starting the 5th petal. By now you probably got the gist of it. We're chaining 2. We're working 2 double crochets, chain 2 more, and 1 single crochet right into that little ring. Now here's where it's different. You want to flip this over, find the chain right before the petal, and insert you can do it from either direction, insert your hook there and do a slip stitch. So we have a little connector chain, 1 flower. Now we're going to make another connector. So we're going to just chain 17. And when we finish doing the chaining, we're going to do another flower, just like we did before. And soon you'll have a string of flowers, all connected. Once you have enough flowers to cover the edge, end off by finishing the last violet and slip stitching in the connector chain at the back. Then just simply cut the yarn. If you are unsure about the length, you can leave the yarn attached and add more flowers later if needed. When edging knit or crochet items, work at least 1 row of single crochet around or across the intended edge. This foundation should be the same color as the main part of the garment or project. And I have 32 stitches along each side, and I'm going to have 5 flowers along each edge. That means there's going to be 8 stitches between each of the flowers. One end of your garland, or your string of flowers, has the chain on the end, and the other end has just the flower. And I usually start with the end where I began, because if I decide I only want to do the flowers on one edge, for example, I could simply snip this, pull those chains out, and weave the end in right at the corner. Or you can easily add on to this and make it even longer if you wanted to. So in the corner, I'm going to attach my first flower with a little stitch holder. Then I'm going to go to the other end, and I'm counting out my 5 because I already had figured this out, and I'm going to pin my other flower here. If you don't know how many you're going to need, Just stretch it out until it feels comfortable. That's what's nice about these chains in between. You can bunch them a little bit together. You can stretch them a little bit because they're going to be buried under the first row of the border. On the end, I need to find my end stitch, and this one belongs to this side. So I'm going to lay the flower with the right sides all facing me. I'm going to lay that flower out, and I'm going to pick up my yarn, and I'm working around this chain section. So my first stitch will just be a chain with a double strand of yarn. Okay? And now I'm going to go back into that very same stitch and work a single crochet around the chain part of the flower garland and into the next stitch. So here's my second stitch, my third stitch. Now see, this chain is getting short, but it kind of came out on that end, so all I have to do is pull it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm just about to the flower. Now let's do it close up. I've got my 8 in this section, and then in this one, this is my first stitch of the next. I'm going around the chain and work a single crochet. 8 single crochets to be exact. 2, then pull up the little slack, and I'm behind the flower. The flower's to the front, and there I go. Here's 8. So I'm at the corner, and so how to turn the corner is just move your flower to the front, bring your chain to the back, that goes on to the next flower, and I like to make 1 chain or 2 behind the flower. It doesn't really matter because the flower is going to cover it up, but that'll help you turn the corner easier. And then I'm just going to go into the next stitch, and that was where I had joined my woven in my end, and into the next stitch. That's my first 2 stitches of this sequence along the side. These 2 sides I'm going to do in plain, and these 2 sides I'm going to do with leaves. So I did it's the same thing where you add and work around the chain area, but when you get the last single crochet in place before the flower, then chain 7, slip stitch into the last single crochet. I like to get under 2 loops, and I've created a leaf loop behind the flower. Then I just continue along this edge, around the next chain, into the next stitch, and work my single crochets. Now I'm going to finish these 2 sides the same way with adding leaf loops. See this? This needs to lay down there so the edge is consistent throughout. And so we're just going to weave these ends in at this point and join them. So now we can just finish the last section. Let's look at the back side. Now I have leaf loops all the way around here for each of the flowers from corner to this corner. These I have plain. I'm doing it purposefully so that you can see the difference between the 2 techniques. I'm ready to start the final row. This pattern was designed to be worked in the round. So I have the right side still facing me after I finished going all the way around the edge. If you were only going to go along one edge and not do it in the round, at the end of row 1, break the yarn and then reattach it on this side so that you're making sure the right side is facing you. So we're going to work a single crochet in each of the stitches along the edge until I get about 2 before the junction. Okay, I'm there. So I'm going to just lay the flower out the way I want it to be, and I'm going to insert my hook through the tip, the back loop of the tip of a petal. Doesn't matter which petal. And then into the stitch and work the single crochet by drawing up the loop, including that under that petal. Single crochet. Then I'm going to work 3 or 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to see where the petal lays. This one looks like the petals. I'm going to insert my hook right in the tip of the petal and into the next stitch. That one's taken care of. Draw up my loop, including under that petal, that stitch of the petal, and complete a single crochet. All that does is it ties the flowers down, the petals down, and so they don't bunch up when you're washing it. So it's an easy little trick to do to handle flower petals. As you can see, they're not completely even, but neither is a flower garden. In this variation, you're going to work all the way up until 1 stitch before the leaf loop. But we are going to insert our hook through the back loop of a nearby petal. There we go. Now we're going to yarn over to do a double crochet and into the leaf loop, and we're going to work the first double crochet. Now we're going to work 2 more double crochets into the leaf loop. Two treble crochets, which is 2 yarn over the hooks, and pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Let's do another treble. Yarn over and yarn over again. So you have 3 loops on the hook. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a treble crochet. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And into the stitch that we just left, we're going to do a slip stitch. Now that forms the tip of the leaf. So now we're going to do the other side of the leaf. We're going to do it in reverse. 2 treble crochets, 3 double crochets, but when we get 2 double crochets finished, we insert our hook through the tip of the petal, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So then we pull through 2 of the green. Now we have the 2 of the green surrounding the tip of the petal, and that's what tacks it down. So that's an easy way to do a tack. And then we skip one. This one's already used, so we're skipping this one, and we go into the next stitch. And so here is what our petals with their leaves look like as we're going along the edge. And I'm going to continue around this part all the way to the beginning. I'll meet you then. Both these variations have a purpose, and when combined, they make a mighty twosome. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos and events. Happy crocheting!